Oh, you've got a friend.
Oh, hello.
Small scale household album. Man. It's only ever been a man when I've seen it dressed as a goose.
Great day. This sounds like something I could really get on board with.
It hits the house. It spreads out and it goes through. But he's like he's my guide. These forces that want to squash that kind of thing. You can't let that stop you. No matter what the situation is, you have to make it.
Hello, welcome to This Is Mint. That's the first time I've ever said that, and that's really exciting. Welcome to my podcast. I'm Heather. For those who don't know, I'm an accordionist and clog dancer from Stockport, and I kind of decided one day that I really wanted to start a podcast, and then sort of like 6 months down the line, here we are, ready for episode 1. Thank you so much for being here. This podcast, I kind of wanted to start a podcast that highlights all of the amazing musicians and creatives and artists and fashion designers and anyone in the creative arts in the north of England and what they're doing within where they live or where they're from. And it's been such a beautiful journey so far to get to go and meet all these people, and now you get to come along for the ride as well. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then you're in the right place, and I mean, if it's not, then you might learn something whilst you're here, so I don't know. But I really am excited, that's all I can say. But I will introduce our first guest for This Is Mint, who is the incredible Richard Dawson. Richard Dawson is a musician and guitarist and singer from Newcastle, and he's brilliant, and we had such a lovely chat in his home. We talked about his new album, End of the Middle, and touring life, and where he gets his inspirations from. We talked about Goose Festival, all sorts of stuff. So this is Richard Dawson.
Richard Dawson, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
All right, yeah. A bit bleary today. I'm a little bit bleary. I had we never got a chance on tour to have like a celebratory drink, so I did it last night instead.
Nice.
Nothing too wild.
Yeah.
But oh, you've got a friend.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Hello. Watch your fingers.
I know. Hi. Are you going to do the interview for me?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
You all right, lover? Come on. Hello. Meow. There you go.
I love that so much. Like 5 seconds in, she's like,
Yeah, she knows.
Here we go. What's she called?
Trouble.
Oh. You released your new album not that long ago. Congratulations.
Cheers.
So could you tell us a little bit about End of the Middle?
Yeah, it's the kind of byword in my mind. I always have like a big word, Boogie Nights, where he chooses his name, Dirk Diggler, and it's like, I always have that like a one word in mind for an album.
Yeah.
So in the past, for Peasant, it was like contradiction. For this one, it was domesticity.
Yeah.
So whenever I'd lose my way, I would always go to this word. So it's like a very domestic, small-scale household album about a few generations of a family, and each kind of song deals with a person who's kind of in a moment of change. Hello. Some kind of having to make facing a change or grasping something like that. So that's about the size of it.
Nice, cool. So this album is quite different to the last album that you released in that it's a bit more of a sort of smaller ensemble and smaller lineup. Was it kind of like, was that an intentional thing, or was that kind of just what you were kind of going for instead of your album?
It was I think I always think I want each album to be distinct from the last one. They sort of all cast a light on each other. I was thinking a bit about Circle, this Finnish band I work with. Their albums are all very different, but they all complement each other. With this one it was like would like to keep everything, like the palette really limited. and keep the colours really muted. And so the instrumentation's really simple. That everything's played very quietly or gently, even in the kind of more upbeat moments, everything's softly touched, which was like really challenging for Andrew, the drummer, Andrew Cheetham. Just gentler, so he's playing this kind of normal drum patterns, but barely hitting the skins, just to give it this kind of unsure feel, this kind of not confident feel. And then also to make this effect for the last song that it would just explode into colour, a bit like I was thinking about that Andrei Tarkovsky film, the Andrei Rublev. It's all beautiful monochrome for 3 hours, and then it bursts into colour with a kind of montage of the paintings. So that was sort of in the mix.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, because I was like listening to it, and you have the drums, and then you also have Faye McCalman, who I'm a massive fan of, who kind of comes in and dips in and out of a lot of the songs. And I just wondered, like, was that something that you wanted to have a sort of underlying thread through a lot of it with some sort of instrumentation, or was that just like as you were building the songs? I think because we we live in a world that's like singles, and like to have something that threads throughout a whole album, I think is like quite a really special thing. And I just wondered, like, what was the thoughts behind having that kind of thread?
Yeah, I think Faye, I wasn't sure who it would be or what the instrument would be, but quite early on I had this notion that there needed to be something that acts as lightning, but it's almost like the agent of chaos. So in the first song, the house gets struck by lightning, but I also wanted it to sort of be as if there's like a big hand shining a torch into the every little nook and cranny of a doll's house. And then we I can't remember, Bulbils, this band I do with Sally, my partner, we played a show with Archipelago, and we did a one song with them. We did like an Archipelago Bulbils big band.
Amazing.
It was really really something. But I was sort of had one ear on Faye and watched their show, and I was like, my God, this is really good. I think she could be the right person for this job. And so she was right from the off. I didn't even need to tell her what to do. She sort of intrinsically got it, and it was really, really great recording with it. Just sort of, go.
Oh yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm a big Faye fan.
Yeah. Just quickly as well. Sorry to interrupt. In terms of like the album thing, I think I had not even realised that things had drifted so much towards singles, and that I still think in terms of albums, and the bands I like are all making big albums. And maybe it's a bit like the TV series versus films. You've got a lot more room to work. You can develop motifs and patterns and certain themes, lyrical themes. You can kind of develop them more patiently over the course of an album. I'm lost when I'm writing one song which isn't linked in an album. I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to do it at the minute with a song about geese, and it's like I'm playing a goose fair in a month or so, and I thought it'd be nice to make a song about geese for the fair.
What happens at a goose fair?
Well, traditionally, I think it was they would run the goose to market, but that doesn't happen anymore. So now it's like stalls, and there's a man. It's only ever been a man when I've seen it dressed as a goose.
Really?
So giant goose dressed as a man. No, giant man, normal sized man dressed as a giant goose. Like craft beer. There was a Hex and Brass band played last year.
Nice.
There were clog dancers.
Great.
It's a fantastic day.
This sounds like a great day. This sounds like something I could really go
on
with. A man dressed up as a giant goose.
Oh, it's beautiful. But trying to make this song with it only exists as this song and not as part of a larger thing. Honestly, I'm so you don't have that scaffold to hang stuff on. You just are building from, it's like I'm trying to erect a tent, but I don't have the poles.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're kind of putting your album, this album and other albums together, you mentioned that for this album, there's been a lot of like stories in like kind of quite a generational way. Is that kind of based on your own like family and all that sort of stuff, or is it based in sort of just in a different sort of generational periods of time?
A mix, really. It's some certain things are like kernels of songs are taken from things that happened in our family, like the lightning bolt was something that happened. Our house got struck by lightning when I was about 10 or 11, and everybody in different rooms saw the flash. And that I didn't know why that was until I was researching for this album, and then found out that when the lightning bolt hits the house, it spreads out and it goes through the wiring and the pipes, the water pipes, and it leaps across rooms, just trying to find its fastest way to ground.
Yeah.
So that was one, and like the question of this ghost story was based on a ghost story from our family. But then, so that's the kernel, but then the characters are different. The story goes in a different direction. Maybe using some other things from something that happened to a friend or something I read about, or so it's never autobiographical, although it has to be real. So yeah, a mix of.
With these characters, do you kind of have like, is it kind of like just the kind of like the story behind them, or do you picture them as like people, like you have like what they look like and like what their personality is, like even like what their accent is, and do you like make them into fully formed people, or is it more just like mirages of people?
Maybe it ranges somewhere in between. I've never thought about their voices, their accents, even though I always think how do their thought processes go? So what would be authentic in a song if that moment in the song is from their point of view, like how would they say that? But I've never thought about that in terms of accent, and maybe I will now. I might be totally stupid now. I won't be able to do it. But yeah, sometimes certain clothes items or where they are, like but sort of more. It's not like a visualization, but certain details, and trying to. It's always like my version of what they're thinking, but trying to sort of unpick how I might think about something. Like I'm thinking about like a past song I found really hard to write was Civil Servant, because the person in it was kind of disenchanted and was just so demoralized and very cynical. And I don't think I'm not cynical. And I found it really, this song will only work if I am faithful to that state of mind that this person's in. So yeah, a little bit of it is like parking what I think, but I think I can go further with that. I was thinking about it a few days ago, like I was wondering about like the extremes of writing from the point of view of like maybe like somebody in the Reform Party or something like that. Like, could I would that work as a song? Like, it's also like, I don't think it would, but as an extreme example of like how far could you go with that? Could you make a song from the point of view of somebody who was so far away from yourself, like could I make a song from the point of view of like a person who is really racist or something like that? I don't see a way to do it, and I don't want to do it. What am I trying to say? Like, there is a limit to how your sphere of conception or perception. It's it's limited. It doesn't stretch out far.
Yeah. Like, no, it's so interesting. I think one of the things that I love about your writing is that it comes from just a very, like, I guess, a very normal, like, just very normal things in everyday life. Like, I love the fact that you have a song that references French Connection. I just think that's really funny. Like, I just love that so much. And like, I just wondered, like, what when you sort of started doing a lot more like solo stuff, what kind of led you down that path of like writing very like real lyrics about very real things that happen in like just in everyday life?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I was influenced a lot by Nev Clay, and just he sort of taught me that things I hadn't perceived before as poetry can be just that. You know, we also like with American lyrics, it's sort of everything is so exotic and otherworldly, but we somehow don't see it about our own things. Not always. I guess like, you know, maybe Pulp, the new album out, he does, and so learning that lesson was good. But it wasn't so much. It's more about like people's thought patterns and how like people don't think. Sometimes they do. People don't often think in like poetic, you know, flouncy language. So I'm a bit suspicious of it sometimes, but there have been albums where it was appropriate. Like Peasant was very rich, kind of chewy language to work with, and it's actually a bit easier because it's so, I don't know, it's kind of malleable. And the same with the Ruby chord. There was so kind of outlandish stuff thinking about this future thing. The language you could use was like more. It could be more out there and more in like you could play with it a lot more because the rules weren't established. Unlike if we talked about today, if it's going to be how people are thinking, then you sort of have to be faithful to thought patterns and speech patterns. So it's kind of to do with that, but it's frustrating. I mean, I found writing this album, the lyrics really, really hard this time, because you have so many fewer options. But to make them work with the melodies and but still to convey, to still work as sound and poetry and not just as the stories. I found it kind of nightmarish actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you, when you're kind of putting songs together, is there like a certain process that you have when you're like, do you like, you know, go out and like, you know, people watch and like see what like or take in like certain landscapes that are particularly inspiring? Like what are the things that you kind of do when you're coming to write songs?
I don't know really. I think it seems sort of seasonal sometimes. Like it comes, like at the moment, there's just a lot of music coming through. So it's sort of, it seems to come in seasons. So when I'm not, I'll read a lot, but when I start to write lyrics, then I won't be reading much at all, and I'll watch more films maybe or something. I need to, but I don't know. I don't know.
So you are from Newcastle, obviously, and live in the northeast still. How much of like that kind of growing up in Newcastle and seeing how Newcastle's changed so much. I mean, I've been here 10 years now, and even like the landscape of it and so many different things have changed throughout the past 10 years. So like for that to even be even longer than that from growing up here, how does that has that kind of changed how you write things in different ways, like from seeing a landscape that you've grown up in change so much over the years?
I don't know, because I'm changing as well, and so I don't, like, I see, sometimes I feel like a bit worried about going out into the city now or something, and I'm like, is that the city? Is it changed? Is it more edgy, or is it just me? I think it's probably mainly me actually getting a bit older and getting a bit softer or more aware of my fragility or something like that. I think as well that my outlook's probably changed from a local one because I'm so lucky to be able to play further afield now, that it's like, I'm not just writing for Northeast audience. Not that I was ever writing for any audience. I'm writing for myself, or with you can't get too bogged down in that really. But like, I think my just an awareness that there's like a wider audience. I wouldn't want to limit it, but I'm from Newcastle. I'm proud, very proud Geordie. So it's always going to be in there. I don't think I need to push it. But I definitely don't want to hide it either. It's like special part of the world, as you've come to realise.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like I mean, coming up to a decade now. So
right. Where are you from originally?
So I'm from Stockport. So I find Newcastle kind of quite similar to Stockport in some ways. I think because Stockport's kind of quite a big town, and it's very different to Manchester because it's just south of Manchester, and Manchester is now anyway is so much bigger and feels a lot more like gentrified, and it has a bit more of like sometimes think it has a bit more of a London-y feel now, and I think that I don't know, like Newcastle feels very similar to Stockport in some ways, which is like really nice and quite comforting, I think, actually, because it's like having a home away from home and having two homes now, which is really nice.
Manchester's changing fast as well, isn't it? It's so it's interesting. I mean, I wonder if that could happen here, maybe with the our new Saudi overlords, sort of with all the building projects that's going on there around the football club. Could be that it's coming our way as well. I don't know how you maintain identity in the face of that, but I think we've got a good shot.
Like I know you've done like bits for like the Lubber Fiend and lots of other places, and you know you work out of Blank, which is a brilliant studio in Heaton and all that sort of stuff. And what do you think kind of needs to be done to support the sort of DIY scenes in Newcastle and across the country, I guess?
Oh goodness. Well, firstly, I mean, I feel a bit out of it, to be honest, and because we're out here, it's only, what is it, like 9 miles as the crow flies out of the city centre, but I'm, you know, it's difficult to get in, so I'm not really going to many gigs. I can't drive, so I sort of feel a little bit like I'm not doing very much. Where maybe I was much more involved in the Newcastle scene, like sort of 6, 7, 8 years ago. The biggest things that have happened in Newcastle are like the Star and Shadow Cinema, which is incredible, and now Lubber Fiend, which is, as you know, totally amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm in terms of supporting those places, I think it's like, well, it's kind of like an onus to do a benefit when the opportunity arises. But yeah, just to try and get to more gigs and support them, and but also to kind of big them up to other musicians and this kind of thing. In terms of how those places keep going in the face of everything that's happening, it gets harder and harder task, I think, especially with this kind of rise of the right in politics and a kind of squashing of all of the arts. Yeah, I'd have to think long and hard about your question to have more answers, but I know that's really crucial to that we do have these spaces, and you have to not let these forces that want to squash that kind of thing. You can't let that stop you. You know, you have to, no matter what the situation is, you have to make what you've got to make.
So you have been out on the road at the moment.
Yeah,
going up and down. Have you just finished? Are you kind of halfway through or just finished?
Yeah, we did 9 days, and then we got another 5 or 6 in maybe a week from now, and then another 5 the following month. And I've got some French dates and Norwegian and Italian. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to navigate that with the boot.
What does like a general Richard Dawson day out on the road look like?
Well, generally it would be like, get to the city. If we've got time, have a little explore. Soundcheck's 3 or 4 o'clock. Get some dinner in a nice restaurant. That's one of the, I mean, that is it's so luxurious, but it's like, you know, you have 20 quid buyout or whatever for a meal, and so every night you might get to try different nice food.
What's your go-to? What do you...
These days, trying to stay a bit healthy, so like Thai, Vietnamese. On this last run we did a few of those, but then we ended up 2 nights in London we went to this Italian
Mm-hmm.
bistro. It was a bit posh.
Yeah.
Like, not posh, but it was a bit swanky
Yeah.
for me.
Bougie.
Yeah,
Bougie,
it was bougie, and I'm not a bougie man.
Mm-hmm.
But the food was like, oh my God, the best Italian
Oh,
food
really?
I've ever
What
had.
did you have?
First night I had it was some kind of vegan gnocchi, but it was like,
I love that.
God, it was amazing. But the second night I had a tagliatelle, but it was covered in nuts and a kind of some crispy kind of ham thing, a cheese crisp, giant cheese crisp.
Lovely.
And it had on top an egg, a big egg, which seemed to be filled with like creamy cheese. I'm not sure how they did it. It was wild. That sounds posher than it was. It wasn't like posh nosh or anything. It was really good.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah,
solid food. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the place was called Botanica in Clapham.
Ooh.
I think that's right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little.
Yeah.
You know, get an endorsement.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
If you could just send me one of those eggs
Yeah.
every day.
And just tell me how you did it. Like
Yeah.
it's like a magician, like a magic trick. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get the cheese and the egg? Like,
Yeah. So I mean, I love exploring towns and going to see old things and the historical stuff. I love shopping in second-hand shops, and I really love modern art galleries or paintings as well. Any kind of painting, doesn't matter what the era. I get the Whitworth for the first time in Manchester. Have you been there?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
They had, I forget the name of the artist, but they had an exhibition of textiles which were portraits by a Roma artist and of their community, and it was just like, wow.
Do you take much inspiration from art and things when you're writing music and things? Is there any kind of art that you're particularly drawn to that helps your inspiration, or is it a mixture?
Yeah, mixture really. I mean, with Peasant, I was really inspired by Bruegel. Is it Bruegel or Bruegel? I'm never quite. I think it's Bruegel.
Yeah.
But his kind of paintings of daily life. These they're almost cartoonish, but they're fantastic. I'm trying to think. For some of the Bull Bill stuff, me and Sally both love Agnes Martin. I love Agnes Martin's paintings. I'd like to do something more around kind of from them. And then there's one painting in the National Gallery by Kobker, who I've read is a Danish master of light. I don't know much about him apart from that, but this painting it's called the artist's cousin P. Ryder, who's a baker, and it's a portrait of him. Ooh, here we go. There's some pumping dance music. Yeah. It's like a portrait of him. It's not that big. It's maybe big, and it's a baker sitting, kind of, and he looks I get ensnared by that. But he's like he's my guide. The guy in this painting, if I'm not sure which path to take, or is this good enough? Is this finished? Then I look to him and his expression, like the Mona Lisa shifts. His expression dependent. He might say, "You've done it," but he might also say, "Come on now, you know that's not good enough." So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm yet to find that piece of art that does that for me. So that's really cool. Kind of like your sort of spirit animal kind of thing. Like that kind of thing.
It's my spirit painting. Yeah. But I guess it could be anything. It could be it could be a friend or something. I have a few friends like that as well. Like I think about Nev, Clay, my pal Ben as well. When I'm working with circle stuff, I think, what would Ben think? Is this? Would he be doing this? And if he's not, then I'm not doing it right.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So my sort of like last question I always like to ask, and this kind of I guess could also be for you when you're on tour and things, is who are you listening to at the moment? Like what artists have we got on the sound system?
Seamus Ennis, I've been listening to a lot of him.
Cool.
Sally's been learning the small pipes.
Like the Scottish small
the
pipes?
Northumbrian small pipes.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. How's she getting on?
Okay. Yeah, I think pretty good. Maybe she needs to find more opportunities to do it, I think. But I love the bagpipes, all sorts of different bagpipes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
be listening to him.
Same.
Yeah. Do you like Italian bagpipes as much?
I don't think I've heard much Italian bagpipes. I mean, I'm a big Highland pipe fan. I mean, I play in a band with a guy who plays Highland bagpipes.
Okay,
so,
amazing.
Like,
I didn't know that.
I feel like that's probably one of the requirements to like them.
Oh, yeah. There's all sorts of different Italian bagpipes and they're all amazing, but it's like it's completely bonkers music. It's
really,
really intense and hypnotic. And,
I'll have to have a listen.
What else? I've been listening to Quinny, which Upset the Rhythm just put out, and she sings. She's a folk singer. She sings in Scots dialect or language, I think. She did a set at one of my London shows, and it was really astonishing. So I've been listening to her album, which is beautiful, and apart from that, like always like Gas. Do you know Gas?
No, I don't think I do.
It's Wolfgang Voigt, this
Right.
Berlin techno guy, but he makes these more ambient productions and Gas pop.
Ooh.
I listen to that at night, and always Eliane Radigue, always Sun Ra, and little bits. Lots of. I listen to a lot of country and western. Just when we're driving, it's just such good driving music. Like,
it is such good driving music. See, like a late night drive home, country and western playlist is like that is the one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How about you? What have you been listening to?
What have I been listening to? I've been listening to a lot of Brooke Combe at the minute, who's Glaswegian. She does like a lot of like soul and stuff like that, which is really, really cool. I've listened to a lot of Ray at the minute, and Olivia Dean and like that kind of stuff at the minute. I've never really listened to it before, but she did the soundtrack for the new Bridget Jones film.
Okay.
And I had never really listened to her before. But yeah, a lot of Wandering Monster. Listen to quite a lot. Who are like a jazz quintet. Who are amazing, and Emma Johnson, who's like a jazz saxophonist.
Okay.
But a lot of jazz and big bandy stuff.
Okay.
I think I'm kind of like trying to listen to lots of different things at the minute because I'm trying to write an album. So I've never written an album before, so it's like trying to figure out where that inspiration's going to come from.
Sure.
So
it all goes in. I guess you got to be careful what you listen to. Try and not listen to the adverts on the TV.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of the tour.
Good luck with your work as well.
Thank you. Thanks.
So that was Richard Dawson. What a guy. I had so much fun chatting to him, and please go and listen to his new album, End of the Middle, and if you can get to a gig of his, please go and see him because he's like unbelievable live. We did a benefit gig a couple of years ago at the Cumberland Arms in Byker, which is an amazing venue in Newcastle, and he's just amazing. Thank you so much for listening or watching. If you want to see more This Is Mint episodes, then please like and subscribe and follow and all that jazz. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. And please, if you think you know people that would be interested, please share it as well. This is a brand new podcast and still finding our feet with it. So if you know people that might be interested in cool, creative people from the North of England, then please share it with them because it would be great to have more people around. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.